Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, let's dive right into this. Today we're taking a super focused look at the mechanics, risks, and management of diabetes mellitus. We're going to completely demystify this chronic condition, breaking down exactly how it works on a biological level and, most importantly, how we can effectively control it. Let's just get right to it and give you the absolute clearest picture possible.
So to really grasp diabetes, we kind of have to start by zooming out, right? Imagine the human body as this incredibly complex energy system. But what actually happens when that system breaks down or misfires? Well, we end up facing a fundamental disruption in how the body processes its vital fuel. We're not just talking about dry, abstract medical jargon here. It's literally like the main engine of your body is stuttering because it can't correctly use its primary source of energy.
At its core, diabetes mellitus is a chronic disease where blood sugar levels become too high because the body either doesn't produce enough insulin or just can't use it effectively. Notice how insulin is the absolute key player here. You can think of it as the biological mechanism, like a crucial messenger that regulates the sugar in your blood. Without insulin doing its job correctly, that sugar just builds up in your bloodstream with nowhere to go, completely unable to be converted into the energy you actually need to function.
Now, what's really interesting here is that this malfunction generally takes two distinct paths. In type 1 diabetes, the body just doesn't produce enough insulin. Think of it like a biological factory where the production line has literally come to a halt. The machinery is broken, no product is coming out. In type 2, though, the situation is a bit different. The body might actually produce the insulin keys, but the locks on your cells, they're basically rusted. The body just cannot use that insulin effectively to unlock the doors and let the sugar in. Grasping this mechanical difference is absolutely crucial because it sets the stage for everything else we're going to cover today.
And you know when those internal mechanics falter, whether we're talking about that halted factory line or those rusted cellular locks, the effects don't just stay hidden away. They manifest in some very real physical ways. It really becomes a matter of paying attention to the warning signs and truly listening to what your body is trying to tell you. Let's shift gears and look at how these internal blood sugar spikes actually translate into physical symptoms you might experience.
The outward signs of this whole system-wide breakdown are actually quite widespread. We're looking at things like excessive thirst coupled with frequent urination, mainly because the body is just desperately trying to flush out that excess sugar. You might also experience increased hunger alongside persistent fatigue, simply because all that fuel isn't actually reaching your cells where it's needed. Then there's blurred vision, incredibly slow wound healing, and even unexplained weight loss. The flow of logic here is vital to grasp. These aren't just random isolated ailments. They are direct, outward manifestations of that high blood sugar. Recognizing these signs matters immensely for you or your loved ones, because spotting them is the very first step toward getting help.
So what pushes someone toward developing these symptoms in the first place? The risk factors generally fall into two distinct buckets. On one hand, you have uncontrollable factors like family history and aging, where obviously we can't exactly change our genetics or stop the clock. But, and this is the crucial point, the other bucket is entirely within human control. We're talking about obesity, an unhealthy diet, and a lack of regular exercise. Diabetes risk isn't just left up to fate or genetics. Because such a huge portion of these risk factors is driven by lifestyle choices, there's a massive opportunity for prevention and intervention here.
Let's see how this builds. Once those risk factors or warning signs prompt a doctor's visit, the guessing game ends and medical science takes over. This is the diagnostic turning point. Let's look at how healthcare professionals proactively investigate exactly what the body's energy system is doing and give it a definitive name.
This diagnostic journey relies on some very precise clinical tests to confirm the condition. Step 1 usually involves blood glucose tests to get a real-time snapshot of the sugar currently in the blood. It's a direct look at the immediate situation. Then Step 2 utilizes the HbA1c test. This one is really fascinating because it provides a longer-term picture, essentially showing your average blood sugar levels over the past few months. Together, stepping through these specific clinical tests provides undeniable, data-driven confirmation. It moves the patient entirely out of that scary zone of uncertainty and into actionable clarity.
Now, receiving an official diagnosis can undoubtedly feel pretty overwhelming, right? But here's where we get to pivot to the truly optimistic reality of this condition. We live in an era where modern medicine provides an incredibly robust toolkit for disease management. A diagnosis is absolutely not a dead end. It is entirely about taking back control, and the options we have available today are highly effective and multifaceted.
This comprehensive treatment approach starts right back with those controllable factors we discussed earlier. It means putting a balanced, healthy diet onto your plate, grabbing your running shoes for regular exercise, and maintaining weight control. These lifestyle modifications are the absolute foundation. But when the body needs some extra support, targeted medical therapies seamlessly step in to expand that toolkit. This can range from oral medications to direct insulin therapy, which essentially replaces what the body can no longer produce or properly use. It's really all about combining those daily lifestyle choices with the right medical interventions to put the patient firmly back in the driver's seat of their own health journey.
Which brings us to the ultimate, most empowering takeaway today. If you remember just one thing from our time together, let it be this. Diabetes can be controlled with early diagnosis, a healthy lifestyle, regular monitoring, and adherence to treatment. That isn't just wishful thinking. It is a stated clinical reality. Diabetes is a highly manageable state of being, for sure, provided you actually put the tools, the tracking, and the lifestyle changes to work.
We've explored the internal mechanics, we've identified the tangible risks, and we've mapped out the modern tools for control. The blueprint for understanding and managing this chronic condition is clearer than ever. So I'll leave you with this final thought to consider. With early diagnosis and the right lifestyle proving that diabetes can absolutely be controlled, will you take the first step in monitoring your health today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, stay proactive about your health, and I will catch you next time.